Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I, the one and only Sonic the Hedgehog here, aka the Blue Blur, aka Blue Justice, and I am from the likes of the Mexi Toys videos, as you probably expect at this point. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Sonic Frontiers for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S, PC Steam, and finally the Nintendo Switch. So, last time, we essentially did manage able to continue exploring through the forms of Kronos Island and able to do some more tasks here and there, ranging between all these challenges and all that stuff. And also we bump into the first Titan in the game, but as a result, we didn't end up winning just because we're not strong enough, because in order able to beat the first Titan, we need to able to get all 7 Chaos Emeralds until we eventually become Supersonic in the earliest point in the game. So today for this video is about the fact that we're about to continue things on in Kronos Island to do, you know, the usual stuff, including by the forms of possibly we're also able to actually finish up the rest of the forms of cyberspace segments in journey forms within Kronos Island, as far as I'm concerned. Because as far as I can definitely tell right from the get-go, I believe in each and every single island in the game does manage to contain roughly about 7 cyberspace segments or something like that. Well, mind you, it's been quite a few days since I actually have last played this game, since in 2nd of June, because obviously, if those of you probably wondering, ever since in about, you know, any forms within a weekend, as you probably guys should probably already know, that recently Mario and Luigi has already managed able to start things off with their redo Let's Play of Mario Super Sluggers for the Nintendo Wii, because of the forms of how it factor with some slight improvement overall in comparison to the forms of how it does it back in 2017 basically. And I really love the fact that we are basically tackling through not only one Sonic game, but also one Pac-Man game, and finally one Mario game, in this case the famous mascot Let's Plays as far as this is concerned. Because obviously, the only exception being is of course Mega Man, because obviously we've already tackled every single Mega Man games up to this point. The only exception being is of course Mega Man and Bass for the Super Famicom version, just because we've already tackled through the English version on the Game Boy Advance version. So yeah, you probably get the gist of it. So either way, one thing I totally forgot to mention about is that every time whenever you activate something more related to the memory tokens basically, that basically knows about the fact that there's going to be a lot of cutscenes in this game, which I think I actually don't mind about it too much about it, especially because relatively speaking now about the fact that there's going to be a lot of abundance of dialogue here and there. So but either way though, let's just go ahead and open up the next Chaos Emerald, in this case the yellow color, because, you know, we've got enough vault keys as a result, so that should be all good. So, and I think relatively speaking though about the fact that I believe we've only got 3 Chaos Emeralds left, but either way though.
So, something's been bugging me about these ruins. The whole reason we came was because Tails detected the Chaos Emeralds were drawn here, right? And now I'm finding digital keys and confinement towers that seem custom-made to hold the emeralds. Like half this stuff was built with them in mind.
Maybe the ancients used the Chaos Emeralds in the past. We've learned of other past civilizations who did too.
Yeah, but those groups tried to use them. And the stuff here seems all about containment.
Maybe they knew something about their power that we don't. The Chaos Emeralds are still pretty mysterious, even after all we've done with them.
Now, for those of you probably wondering about the fact that this game has been out for quite some time, that also means about the fact that yes, this game does manage to contain some other free DLC, like for instance there are some outfits you can able to try out, including back in the day during the forms within the actual November, in the forms within last year. That yes, I did somehow manage to get myself this very cool DLC, but it's only accessible on a newsletter back in the day, because as a result, the newsletter does contain the Sonic Adventure 2 shoe style, or specifically soap shoes, which I'll show this off and join at some point on Wednesday potentially, so just in case we can able to show you guys some different variety when it comes to the forms of outfits and all that stuff. Although I'm not exactly sure if I'm also showing you guys all of it though, because obviously about the fact that, well, we have to wait for a certain amount of time until whenever we get around to showing you guys some, you know, DLC outfits and stuff like that. So, but either way, before we get on with this though, we need to go ahead and level up our strength and defense. So because of that though, because you know, we've already done a lot of those challenges lately. So, but either way though, because chances are, yeah, that's what I can really think about it. So yeah, there's another thing I totally forgot to mention about, in terms of the forms of something related to the PlayStation Showcase announcements and stuff like that, that I'm happy to report about the fact that, well, Metal Gear Solid is back in action, since I would say the last time we did have a Metal Gear Solid game was back in the forms of I would say in 2018 or something like that. But relatively speaking though, I'll explain more details on that in a moment. So, but relatively speaking though, is that today's date, of course, is the 5th of June today, in this case in 2023 today. But relatively speaking though, about the fact that, well, I can assure you, we've only got about roughly 6 days to go until Xbox Game Showcase presentation is going to be up. But I think I'll probably save that conversation and during at some point once we get to the forms of the continuation uploading schedules for the sake of the forms of this game, Sonic Frontiers. So, but either way though, yeah, you probably get the gist of the forms of how this particular Let's Play is going to turn out to be. But either way though, that's what I can really think about it. So anyways, let's do a continuous homing attacks onto those enemies right here. So, but either way though, that way we can reach Amy Rose again.
You hanging in there, Amy? Is your condition, well, I don't know, uncomfortable?
It's certainly unsettling. But it makes a big difference being able to at least talk to you. Before you freed me, I couldn't see or hear anything clearly. It was like looking into a kaleidoscope that was always shifting. I couldn't tell if I was coming, going, or moving at all. I'd have gone crazy if you hadn't gotten me out.
You're tough. I know you'd have hung in there. Still, I'm glad I could get you out. And I'm not gonna stop until you're back to normal.
So yeah, speaking of the forms of the Metal Gear Solid, is that, well, apparently they're going to be remaking the third entry in the series, specifically on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and PC, I'm presuming so. Although sadly for Nintendo owners, no Nintendo Switch version. So because of that though, understandably so, because obviously about the fact that they moved on to the next generation of consoles with its better visuals and all that stuff. But as it turns out, about the fact that with the third game remake, it's going to call it Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. So as a result of that kind of stuff though, because the reason why I say Delta, because even though it did say the forms of Metal Gear Solid triangle symbol, which actually represents Delta. So because of that though, yeah, everyone else is actually pretty excited about this, especially because, well, in addition to that, they also shown us some more gameplay footage, and especially noticeable with this entire release date for the likes of the new Spider-Man 2 game. And as a result, I believe Spider-Man 2, the game, is going to be releasing at some point in this coming fall. In this year in particular. We're not exactly sure when is it though. It could be either be September or October or November, or possibly even maybe the forms of this holiday season coming up. Go alongside with the forms of the actual release of the DVD or Blu-ray release of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, potentially speaking. But relatively speaking though, speaking of which though, is about the fact that we recently went to see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse during the other day, and all in all, I absolutely adored it. It certainly feels a lot more out there compared to the forms of how it does it for this live-action remake of The Little Mermaid, which I've already explained about this, because obviously we're not going to say that particular film ever again, especially because about the fact that, well, relatively speaking, that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is actually still doing pretty well for its box office earnings, alongside with the films of Fast 10, although presumably it might feel a bit slowly progressioning for the sake of time, but either way though, that might be saying something, so, but I digress. So, but either way, in terms of the actual release of the forms of Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, it's currently unknown at the moment, similar to the forms of how it does in Kingdom Hearts 4, back in the forms of in last year in 2022, to go alongside with the 20th anniversary of the forms of the Kingdom Hearts games, basically because they need able to work extremely hard to to able to actually make the game a lot more polished than ever, especially because we don't able to rush things too much, because obviously if we do rush it, basically though, it'll turn out to be a miserable flop. So, but either way, oh yeah, as you can see about the fact that since I did manage to somehow do a side loop as in figure 8, basically what that means is that this allows me to able to do an infinite amount of boost for a short period of time. So as a result of that kind of stuff though, I just seriously love doing that, especially because not only does it give me a lot of potential to able to boost around during even the open zone areas, but also about the fact that I don't have to worry about just trying to able to keep on running out of boost. Well, usually relatively speaking though, because obviously the boost meter functions kind of like the forms of the stamina meter from the likes of the forms of the Legend of Zelda series, specifically Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and on top of that with Skyward Sword as well. So, but either way though, that's as far as saying goes. It looks like that Squid Guardian just somehow shows up again. So I think we've almost done when it comes to likely completing all of these challenges in Kronos Island. Now, if you do manage to able to complete all of those challenges in Kronos Island, I think that was actually a useful thing you can able to actually access to. But then again, we'll explain more details about that once we're able to actually do all kinds of stuff here and there. So, but either way, and exponentially speaking though, looks like we come across into the forms of, I would say, an Elder Coco, or potentially speaking, I think this is Elder Coco, because obviously, if you couldn't tell already, that I think the Hermit Coco is actually the tallest one, so I believe this is actually the Elder one, and I actually got the trophy for that too, so... Anyway, so as you can tell, since that we keep on collecting the regular Cocos, and basically what that means is that if you deliver most of those Cocos, as you can see, basically we have the ability to able to increase our ring count or the speed capacity. So because of this though, yeah, that's actually pretty cool and everything. The only time I felt was a little bit too slow compared to the forms of how it does it for Hermit Coco, that basically though you have to able to go for a lot of text, and on top of that you have to able to keep on reselecting the exact same options over and over again if you want to able to get maximum level for the likes of not only the ring capacity but also the speed as well. So but either way though, that might be feel a little bit off in some scenarios, but either way though, that's as far as saying goes. So either way, I just really love the fact that you can able to run up to the actual some walls and stuff like that, which either way though, let's just activate that switch over there to get rid of these pile of leaves to able to actually like not only get this next heart seed, but also just, you know, open up the next graphical novel for the sake of the forms of trying to see what's up on the map. So, but anywho though, relatively speaking though, about the fact that I think, relatively speaking, we've only just got about roughly about 18 more days to go until Sonic Origins Plus we're expecting to be releasing. So either way though, yeah, that's what I really think about it. So I'm really excited to see what that compilation, or specifically the updated version of that compilation is gonna turn out. So but either way though, that way we can able to actually just you know, not only try out Amy Rose as a playable character for every single games, but also with Knuckles, it becomes playable in Sonic CD for the very first time ever. So I'm actually pretty excited able to do a Knuckles playthrough in Sonic CD, so how he actually turns out. Well, I'm pretty sure about the fact that when it comes to Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, presumably, are basically those about the fact that, that's kind of annoying. Basically, that sometimes the only annoying part about this is, though, is that in order able to actually enter into cyberspace segment, you have to basically, you need to get away from enemies, because obviously if you enter combat mode, basically you can't enter the portal thing, which is kind of annoying, honestly. But either way, though, that's as far as I can usually try to able to describe about any of those things. So, anyways, let's grab these purple tokens, as far as I can definitely see what we're going to be collecting. Which, kind of think about it, it does kind of reminds me of something related to the purple coins from the likes of not only from Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2, but also with the forms of the purple coins, regional purple coins, for the sake of Super Mario Odyssey. Although I'm pretty sure that I see the actual symbol that actually represents the hook Gee, I wonder we might as well able to bump into at one point. So I think we should probably activate the portal, so just in case we can able to see what's up ahead, so... Because something tells me this particular shiny bit is now in purple instead of the usual red. So, could we possibly be the forms of another side of content that we might bump into at some form or another? Well, we should probably see what happens in due time.
Oh, hey, Sonic. You come here to fish too?
Big, what are you doing here? How did you get here? What even is here?
I don't know. I was looking for fishing spots and wound up here. So now I'm fishing.
Of course you are.
Would you like to try? I'll let you borrow a rod.
I guess it wouldn't hurt to detense for a second.
Do you know how to fish? I'll teach you if you want.
Oh my god, Big the Cat is back. Ever since in Team Sonic Racing. So anyway, so as you can see, we stumbled across into a fishing spot. So basically though, it's about the fact that, you know, think of like the regular fishing from the likes of in Sonic Adventure. But I will admit though right away, this fishing mechanic right here feels a lot more fluid and much more easier this time around for the sake of the forms of this game. Because for one, obviously about the fact that if the fish bites onto the actual hook, then basically though, you can able to do a bit of a timing thing. So basically though, if you somehow manage to see that little red outlined circle or something, then basically though it's about the fact that you can able to instantly time yourselves perfectly, so that way you can get one of those random fishes and exponentially some random references from time to time. But either way though, I'm happy to say that the fishing mechanics is actually a lot more improvement than the forms of how it does in Sonic Adventure to me though, because obviously the fishing in Sonic Adventure feels a bit too finicky, whilst in here though, it's actually pretty self-explanatory. And also, if you manage to able to have a free DLC update, specifically alongside with the forms of one of those outfits based off of Monster Hunter Rise, basically though, it's about the fact that you can able to also manage to able to get a barbecue scenario, which as a result, this is where essentially you can able to get another one of those collectibles in this particular game so far. And that's what appears to be by the forms of those green tokens, or green coins to be more specifically, because every time whenever you spend one of your purple coins onto the fishing stuff, basically it's your chance to able to get one of those, you know, as I said before, random sea critters and stuff like that. And relatively speaking though, about the fact that depending on how big they are, and depending on the forms of some random objects you come across into, basically you can get yourselves a whole bunch of those green coins. And what you can do with those green coins is that you can able to buy all sorts of stuff, ranging between the forms of how the fact that not only with all these let's just say some more cocos, but also with the forms of additional rings, and as well as from that, there was also the forms of some power of seeds and defend of seeds or anything else like that, and relatively speaking though, everything else will be pretty much accounted for. But there's also some special items you can able to get, which are basically the forms of those portal gears if you decide able to collect them a bit faster, and on top of that, with the forms of, well, the egg members, which they are basically, it's like the actual diary logs for Dr. Eggman anyway. So, but either way though, that's as far as saying goes, I think that's as far as I can usually try to talk about. And there's also a special collectible, as you can tell, which are basically these little scrolls for not only for Elder Coco, but also with the forms of Hermit Coco as well, which I can assure you, this what actually potentially gives us the ability to do the fast travels with the forms of both of those special kind of cocos at any time. So, but either way though, to make the actual exploration a lot more manageable and here and there. So, but either way though, that's as far as I can usually think about this. So, now, I would have liked able to spend most of my time in fishing, but I'm also able to show you quite a few brief gameplay of fishing, whilst in the later islands to come. Then we might as well come back for there eventually to able to do, you know, completionist alike. So, but either way though, that's as far as I can usually think about it. So, Anyway, so in addition with Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, you know, the remake of the third game in the series, basically though is about the fact that, well, again, we're not exactly sure what the release stages are going to be released on. Now, in addition to that, there's also the films of the compilation of the Metal Gear Solid collection, which I think is going to be only be available on the PlayStation 5 as of now. So in some cases though, it's getting the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1. So in some cases it does manage to contain the first 3 of those Metal Gear Solid games. So as a result of that kind of stuff though, that those are the original Metal Gear Solid and Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, and finally the original version of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. So yeah, that's actually pretty swell. Now, I was expecting that I was going to show you guys the egg memo, but I think I should probably save that for later, especially with for this continuation of this particular fishing stuff. So, but either way though, yeah, it's actually quite cool, especially you can able to go there at any point if you don't feel like trying to do a lot of emphasis on combat. So, but either way, now we can have the ability to able to, you know, fast travel here and there. So that way we can able to go into Elder Coco, basically. So, but either way, and as far as I'm aware, that if you do manage to able to obtain the green scroll and stuff like that, basically though you will able to warp right onto Hermit Coco. I can assure you for this point. So, in terms of the films of the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1, as far as the release date as far as this is concerned, I can assure to you it might actually release at some point in autumn this year, so it could possibly be either, you know, September or October or November, but then again though, we have to wait and find out and during that some form or another. So, but either way though, that's as far as I can usually think about it. Oh look, we bump into a Tower Guardian once again, but of course before we take him down, we need to able to double check what's underneath of this particular point right there, because obviously in addition to able to take down this weird robot thingy right there, but also about the fact that we can able to grab all sorts of collectibles here and there. Seriously, there's some ton of collectibles in this game, which I'll admit though right away though, it does give you a lot of replayability if you do manage to able to explore certain spots here and there. Well, I would say that it's nowhere near as like a massive replayability compared to the forms of how it does it in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom for that matter, because obviously with those two games combined, you can do what the heck you want. Like, you know, for instance with the amount of exploration you can able to put up with. So yeah, that's as far as I can usually say about this. So anyway, in terms of any other new games has been announced in Journey forms within the PlayStation Showcase, that's what appears to be by the forms of Fair Games, so that seems kind of there, I guess. That's obviously going to be coming on PC and PlayStation 5, and for whatever reason, they just shown us a QR code. I'm guessing it takes you to a website or something, so that's saying something. And the next game they did revealed, which appears to be Helldivers 2. Okay, that seems legitimate. So it's going to be releasing at some point in this year. And the next game they did revealed, which appears to be Immortals of Evren, I think is what it says anyway. Mind you, I do really apologize for that mispronunciation of certain game titles as far as I'm concerned. But I think it's going to be releasing at some point during in July the 20th of 2023, a day before Pikmin 4 is going to be releasing during that time. So, but either way though, yeah, that's actually super top notch when it comes to the forms of gaming releases during exactly the same time as close as each other or something. So, and the next game they did revealed, which appears to be by the forms of Ghost Runner 2, if I recall. And that's going to be releasing at some point in this year as well. So, yeah, because it did say Blood will run in 2023. So, yeah, that's as far as I can think about it. And the next game they did revealed, which appears to be Phantom Blade Zero. Because I say Zero, because obviously I can definitely tell for that particular symbol, as far as I can definitely tell for this point. So, now I can assure you it's going to be releasing only exclusively to PlayStation 5, I can assure you for this point. Now, exponentially though, it doesn't show us the release date yet, so. And the next game they did revealed, which appears to be Sword of the Sea, that's going to be also going to be releasing on PlayStation 5 as well. So, but either way though, Again, I'm not exactly sure what the release date is going to be yet for the sake of time, but either way though, that'll be discussion at some form or another, so... And exponentially, we've now got ourselves the 5th Chaos Emerald, so yeah, only 2 more to go. So, if I recall correctly, is that in order to be able to get the 6th Chaos Emerald, which appears to be the light blue color, I believe we do need able to come across into the next Coco challenge, I can assure you for this point. So, but either way, but before we get to that though, we got ourselves a bit of a skydiving segment, just like the Forms of Power does it ever since in Sonic Unleashed, alongside with Colors, and I believe Generations and Forces as well, and also with Sonic Lost World as well. And I can assure you, I don't think that Sonic used the actual, like, what are you waiting for, expression or something like that. Which, although I may be wrong, because obviously, again, it's been about 3 days ago since I actually have last played this, for sure. But either way, though, because chances are, though, that still, I'm actually really looking forward to able to actually just to do this Let's Play, as I said before. So, but either way though, just to show you guys of how to do certain things here and there, especially because about the fact that with all these, like, you know, cyberspace segments from time to time, but either way, it's kind of hard to say, honestly. So anyway, the next game they did revealed, in terms of the PlayStation Showcase, and that's what appears to be the TOIOS, Principle 2, I think is what it says anyway. That's going to be releasing on 2023 on the PlayStation 5 system. And on top of that, there's also Nuva, that's going to be releasing at some point on next year in 2024 on PlayStation 5 as well. And there's also Cat Quest, Pirates of the Caribbean. So get it, because of purr, like cats usually purr. So I totally get that. That's going to be releasing at some point also in next year as well, in 2024. And the next game they did revealed is Form Stars, I think is what it says anyway. Now I can assure you, it kind of reminds me of something relates to the forms of Splatoon style or something. Well, then again, I haven't exactly looked upon that much gameplay footage of that particular game for some time, because mind you, I'm still usually becomes like a Nintendo fanatic. Well, usually as it turns out about the fact that, well, relatively speaking, I'm just still hoping that new stuff to come. But either way, yeah, in terms of the forms of Firm Stars, it kind of reminds me of the forms of the Splatoon game, except it's going to be on PlayStation 4 and 5, I can assure you for this point, although I may be wrong. But either way though, that's as far as saying goes. The next game they did revealed, it appears to be the Plucky Squire, and that's going to be releasing on PlayStation 5. In addition to that, there's also going to be the Switch version of that game as well. That's going to be releasing at some point in this year as well. So, but either way though, yeah, I think that's as far as I can usually think about this for the sake of time, so... Anyways, let's go and dive right into the next cyberspace segment. So, I wonder what the next environment we're going to be ending up into. So, in some cases, we're going back to Green Hill Zone again. And I can assure you, the level layout is actually based off from classic Green Hill Zone from Sonic Generations. Specifically in Act 1, in the console version of Sonic Generations. I'm presuming so anyway, so... Oh, and keep that in mind though, is that, yeah, much like the Forms of Power does it in Sonic Forces, specifically the Avatar stages, basically though, every single cyberspace segment levels are likely does contain vocal tracks here and there, which some of them are alright, but some of them are kind of alright. So, yeah, I feel a little bit mixed on it. So, anyways though, the next game they did revealed, which appears to be Tear Down, and that's going to be releasing on PlayStation 5, believe it or not. So as a result, yeah, that's not much right to home about. And the next game they did revealed, which appears to be Towers of... Oh, this is actually very tricky to say this. Ursaberna, I think is what it says anyway. I do apologize for that mispronunciation of that particular title's name again, I do apologize. So I think that's going to be releasing at some point also in next year as well, in 2024. And also they've shown us some more footage of Final Fantasy 16, because obviously it's actually getting very close until the game's release. And I can assure you that game is going to be releasing a day before Sonic Origins Plus for the likes of the forms of, well, anything else potentially. So... yeah, because of that though, about the fact that, well, as you can tell, that luckily, since then we did manage to able to already obtain 2 of those red star rings on my previous run, that also means about the fact I can keep them from good, rather than just trying to able to recollect them again. Similar to the forms of how it does it since in Sonic Colors Ultimate, if you want to encounter that, and also Sonic Generations, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2, Sonic Lost World, and also exponentially with Sonic Forces. So, it seems that every now and then, when it comes to like the future Sonic games, they keep on reusing the exact same collectible pickup, which appears to be body forms of the red star rings, potentially. Well, I can assure to you, because they are very similar to star coins, basically, from the new Super Mario Bros. Games, basically, so I totally get it because of the replay value, but either way, that's why I was saying something, so anywho though, in terms of everything else, it does manage to show us, and that's what appears to be body forms of a long-awaited sequel in terms of Alan Wake, which I believe I've heard about Alan Wake, which I could assure to you that the first game that came out in, I would say on the PlayStation 3, and no way, I think it was on the Xbox 360 or something like that. And basically, it's about the fact that it's getting this sequel, which appears to be Alan Wake 2. And that's going to be releasing at some point in this year, which appears to be it's going to be releasing until the 17th of October in 2023. So yeah, it's been roughly about 13 years since the first game came out. So yeah, I'm sure that most Alan Wake fans will be very excited about this, especially because, well, they're just dying to see what the sequel is going to hold up about. Even though there's still no luck of the forms of Beyond Good and Evil 2, well, that's just because, well, we haven't heard about that game since then, so anywho though, the next game they did revealed, which appears to be the next installment in terms of Assassin's Creed games. This time what appears to be buddy forms of Assassin's Creed Mirage. And that's going to be releasing at some point in October the 12th in this year in particular. So, but either way, which is roughly the exactly same time as in the 10th anniversary of the release of Pokemon X and Y for the Nintendo 3DS, presumably. So yeah, that's quite a lot of content for the sake of the forms of the PlayStation stuff so far. I'm guessing because they really want to boost out a lot of those potentials for the PlayStation 5 stuff. So, but either way though, I totally get it about the fact that they really want to boost up with the forms of the majority of PlayStation 5 stuff, so anyway, the next game they did revealed, for the sake of the forms of the PlayStation Showcase, and this what appears to be by the forms of, well, I've already mentioned about the forms of Spider-Man 2, so either way though, that, you know, everyone else has been hyped about that particular sequel, so but either way though, that should be all good, all things considered. The next game they did revealed, it appears to be Marathon, which I have no comment on it. And the next game they did revealed, which appears to be buddy forms of Beat Saber, which, I think I should probably save that for later, because obviously there are still some more PlayStation 5 stuff I would like to say about this, and those are, Relevant Hill, I think is what it says anyway, and then that's going to be releasing at some point, and I have no idea when exactly, presumably so, although it's about to be releasing on the PlayStation 4 and 5, presumably. So, but either way though, that'll be for a later time for that particular discussion, so. And as you can see, since we're able to completely done with every single challenges in one of those islands, this means we can now able to do fast travels on those portals. So in some cases though, it's a bit weird that you have to able to actually complete all those challenges in order to able to unlock that particular fast travel when it comes to certain portals, which I know it seems a bit weird, but either way though, I'm sure enough it has to be done. So, but either way though, yeah, I think that's as far as I can say about this for the most part, so. And supposedly enough, the next thing they did announce during the films of the PlayStation Showcase, and that's what appears to be the Green Blue Fantasy Relink, which, as a result, I haven't exactly heard about that game up until now, because as a result of that kind of stuff, though, that, well, it's like an anime game or something, so that's going to be releasing on PlayStation 4 and 5, and as a result, it's going to be releasing at some point in winter in 2023. So, and then you probably already know about the fact that Street Fighter 6 has already came out, on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, as presumably as well, that basically talks about the fact that there is actually some DLC content is going to be on its way. So as a result, that's for what I've noticed is that they might obviously contain, well, if you do manage to able to pre-order the game, which I'm pretty sure that some people have already done it, basically you can able to actually access to custom color outfits for the sake of the forms of, let's just say, for Chun-Li and Jamie and Manon and DJ and also with Dre and finally Ken. So as a result, in addition to that, there's also the PlayStation Store exclusive content, like for instance special titles and stickers, in addition with unique art designs of the 18 launched characters, I'm presuming so. So yeah, I think that's as far as I can think about it, so. And the next game they did revealed, which would appears to be by the names of Ultros, I think it's what it says anyway, and that's going to be releasing until next year in 2024. So yeah, that's about that. And the next game they did revealed, which appears to be by the forms of Tower of Fantasy. So yeah, I guess that's alright. And the next game they did revealed, which is Dragon's Dogma 2. So yeah, that seems kind of there. And also, while looking at this particular stage layout, as you can tell, that we're going back into the city environment for that cyberspace segment, as you can see. And something tells me that particular layout is very similar to the forms of City Escape from Sonic Adventure 2. Because obviously about the fact that with all that particular rail grinding, as you can tell, and on top of that with all that particular familiar layouts and all that stuff, as I've already on about that already. And even then though, that might be saying something in regards, it relates to that, so. And I think, presumably, this is actually the last cyberspace segment in terms of Kronos Island, because once we're done with that, I would believe that we're basically almost done with everything in terms of Kronos Island. So maybe potentially we might be able to wrap things up everything in Kronos Island at some point during the forms of this Wednesday, presumably. Well, if depending on the forms of the time, that's the only thing. So, but either way though, nice. We've completed all 4 of those missions in one run. So, how's that for that? So, anyway, the next game they did revealed, which is kind of caught me off guard at one point, that's what appears to be a sequel to Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted. So yes, it's getting a sequel, which appears to be Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 2. So yeah, that just somehow came out of nowhere. And that's going to be releasing at some point in late this year, in 2023 basically. So either way though. And now we've actually got the majority of the regular stuff out of the way. Although there's also some other stuff here and there as well, which are basically the forms of the next DLC for the likes of Destiny 2. Seriously, they keep on doing a lot of support on Destiny 2, believe it or not. And as a result, it's getting the actual, let's just say the final DLC. That's going to be, turns out to be Destiny 2, the final shape. I can assure you that's what the DLC is going to call it. So as a result, it's going to be at some point, I think it did say Destiny Showcase. And there's going to be at one point and during at some point on, I would say, on the 22nd of August, I'm presuming so. So, but either way though, that might be something to look forward to, I can assure you for this point. But anyways, let's talk to Amy right here.
You again?
Submit. Your reckless actions endanger the world.
Care to explain how saving my friends is a bad thing?
You are an enemy combatant. I will not share data with you.
What is wrong with you? Sonic would never endanger anyone. He's even going to help this Coco reunite with their one true love.
Love. An emotional status too vague and varied in its definition. You are both too ignorant to be helped.
What was that girl?
Aside from being a pain, no clue.
No, originally, I was trying to able to explain some other announcements thanks to the phones to the PlayStation VR 2 stuff on the PlayStation Showcase, but unfortunately though, my phone's battery is almost dying, so because of that though, I think I'll let Pac-Man be able to mention more about it when he goes back onto Pac-Man World Repack until at some point until tomorrow. But either way though, oh yeah, there's also another thing I should probably explain about this as well, that recently Cap King 74, he's now recently finished up with Chapter 6 in Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, so...
Something wrong?
They say their Amore was stationed on the far side of the field. This is the field.
I'm not seeing a lot of farming going on.
Maybe, if you use that new technique of yours, you can clean up all this wild brush?
Alright, so here we go on to the next challenge of any sort, and this time we need to able to clean up this mess. Specifically, we need to clean up all these grasses and stuff like that. You know, think of like mowing the lawn, although except the fact that we need to use the side loop in order to able to make this happen. So, but either way though, yeah, exponentially speaking, all you have to do is basically you have to able to reach a certain amount of points to able to actually continue your progressioning for the sake of time. So, but either way though, it's actually not too bad all things considered. Or keep this in mind though, you need to watch out for those very annoying, soul-like, I don't know, objects you have to able to avoid. So, but either way though, that's as far as saying goes. I think that's as far as I can usually say about this challenge. So, yeah, it's actually pretty self-explanatory when you get the hang of it. So, anyway, now I've noticed about the fact that for one in particular thing in mind, that basically though is about the fact that since that Cap King 34, he's almost finishing up with Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, as I said before, because relatively speaking, that as I said before, he's recently finished up with the 6th chapter, in this case one of the shortest chapters that he ever experienced so far, and as a result, he's now moved on to the 7th chapter. So because of this though, definitely a little bit more of a lengthy chapter in my opinion, just because of that particular general thing you have to able to solve the puzzle and stuff like that, because I can assure you, whenever I first got to chapter 7, it got me a lot of confusion right there. So, but either way, there we go, challenge completed, and sure enough, we get ourselves the next Chaos Emerald, with of course the awesome victory dance.
So, all this used to be farmland, huh?
Yes. They make it sound like it was abundant. But now...
I mean, it's grassy.
Yup. But I've seen this kind of recovery in areas Dr. Eggman damaged. Something ruined this land, and it's barely begun to recover.
Then we need to make sure it has plenty of time to heal.
Right.
Keep tabs on the hedgehog. I want constant updates.
Yes, sir.
And keep looking for a way to get me out of here!
I am evaluating all safe options.
Keep up the good work, Sage.
Thank you, Doctor. I am extending the range of my control, but I can still only command a few of the Ancient's relics at a time.
Commendable. But what about finding me a way out of this digital dimension?
I have run 1,700,050 simulations. There is no scenario to safely remove you from cyberspace.
Unacceptable. Keep looking. Make it your #1 priority.
But keeping you safe is my priority.
Well, as it turns out that not only do we able to encounter Sage, but also that Dr. Eggman also encountered Sage as well. So, could it be possible about the fact that those two are something related to the forms of scientists' specific expertise or something? Well, then again though, they haven't exactly thought about this yet. So anyway, let's go and talk to Amy Rose again.
Don't get too far
we should just let them wrap it up on their own.
We have to see this through.
We still haven't found Tails. We've been wrangling children and taking detours the whole way.
Are you telling me you would leave behind someone in need?
No, but I'm also worried about you. You can't help anyone if you're stuck in limbo.
All right. Then hurry up and save me too, so we can find Tails.
Sounds simple enough.
Also, I did not notice that one of those Guardians did somehow showed up in one of the cutscenes, so kind of weird honestly. So anyway, I think we should probably meet up with Amy once again, just to ensure about the fact that we can definitely know what's going on with those Cocos. So speaking of such, we bump into her already from the get-go.
It's too dangerous. They were reunited, right before the end.
They're together now. You take a minute. I'm gonna keep moving.
Oh, that's pretty sad that those two Cocos died. Oh, jeez. That must have felt a bit heartbroken whenever I see those cute little adorable things just passed away for that such. So anyways, I don't think we've got enough time to able to finish this particular island, I'm afraid. So in some cases though, we got endings off here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Sonic Frontiers. Is that we'll hopefully finish up everything in terms of Kronos Island. So either way, yeah, that's what I can say about it. So I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Later, fellas.